So our phone number is 833-390-KRBE. We're asking you about your homeowners association and the run-ins you've had with the board. Eric, for the first time in his adult life, is about to purchase a home in an HOA area, which I didn't think that was possible to not have one your whole life.
Some neighborhoods do not have them.
At some point, you would hit
Like
one.
Bel Air didn't
by
have.
this time. You've moved so much.
When I lived in the Bel Air area back in the day. I didn't have.
But there's some kind of oversight.
I did. They
though.
never
Hold on a
came
second.
around.
I know you're a high-rise guy, but doesn't the high-rise technically that's like their board is their HOA? Like there are things you can and can't do to your high-rise unit?
I guess, but
It's
like
not
our
like the
dogs,
outside.
Like you can take your dogs down the main elevators.
Yeah.
During Monday through Friday, like 8 to 5, 7 to 5, and then weekends you have to use the service elevator, which sucks.
See, that's a rule that like an HOA would make.
Because that one guy did yell at me once because I took my dog down.
Oh, the wrong
He's
way.
like, "Oh, the elevator's not working over there." I go, "I don't give a crap.
But
I pay
HOAs,
enough money here. I'm gonna take an elevator if I want."
HOAs, for the most
Wow.
part, they're there to ensure quality control, to keep the neighborhood looking good, to make sure it's safe. And some people get a little carried away when they have that responsibility. Quite often, a lot of the HOA board members are senior citizens who may be
the perception
retired.
has been that
Talk
for
to Crystal
years.
because Crystal has that problem. Her HOA was a bunch of older people.
Okay, hi Crystal. Good morning. Welcome to the Roula Ryan Show with Eric. Hi, happy Friday.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So what happened
Yeah,
in your situation?
So I used to, I don't know if I can say the name of it, but I used to live in the old Fountainhead community, and they are really old, and they're made up of a lot of like old people, like retired people from the community. Don't ever get that. Get a business, get an actual company. So we had one lady on there, a little old lady that just was always combative with me. And like the playground was unsafe. Like I was sending them pictures and ways that they could fix it cheap and all that. And instead of doing things that really were needed, they all played tennis. And next thing you know, there's a new tennis court, a new floodlight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
those are the things that they use.
Well, my kid almost breaking his leg on the gym, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And what they say? What did
It's
you say about a
crazy.
camera? Your neighbors did?
Oh yeah, like my neighbors have had cameras up on their house pointing into my yard, and I was like, hey,
Ew.
look at this, and like them and the police are like, there's really nothing we can do. It was crazy.
What?
So they're just
Yeah.
basically aiming their
Because it's
cameras
on
so they
their
can spy on
property.
you.
That's creepy.
Because the cameras are not on your
Exactly.
property. Yeah, that's true.
That
Oh
is
my God,
weird.
That's crazy talk.
Exactly. It's
And what were they
messed
trying to
up.
find out from you, Crystal? Like, why would they be so interested in putting cameras in your yard? What were they trying to get you for?
We were combating over. They had a pool in their yard, and our gate was broken. And my 2-year-old got in their yard, and I had to chase them over there. And their dogs would get into our yard, and then for some reason they turned their cameras into my yard. I think it was just to be petty because we were tiffing, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
But,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
what-
if
and
they've
then-
got a pool, wait, if they have a pool, it's their responsibility to have a locked gate around that because that's
And
dangerous.
That was my argument. I was like, isn't it? Don't you have to have a safety
Yes.
gate around it?
Well,
Yeah.
you have to
I
have a
thought the same
fence that locks on your property if you have a pool. You don't have to have a gate around your pool, but you have to have a fence that locks because if you have a fence where a child can easily open the gate or get in there, they could drown in your pool and then you can get sued
Yep.
because you didn't have the
Right,
correct
but their
fencing.
cleats are gone. The wood was gone from our gate, from their side of the gate, and my kid got
Lord.
through.
Oh Lord.
And did she
Okay,
say-
that's their problem?
Didn't you also say the HOA lady just showed up on your yard and said she has carte blanche? She can go
Oh
anywhere?
yeah. She tried to show up, and I was like, "No, get off my property!" And so she stood at the end of the driveway with her hands crossed, while the other, because she tried to say she could, and I was like, "No, you have 5 other HOA members. Get off my property. I'll talk to him, not you."
So did you end up moving from this neighborhood or do you still live there?
Oh, I did. Oh, I so did.
And that's what drove you out? The HOA was so hard to get along with? You just were like, let's just sell this house?
It wasn't worth it anymore. I didn't feel
Yeah.
like welcome.
I mean, if they're making you feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable,
But
that's
When
a
she sold
terrible
it, though,
thing.
they probably, how's the HOA? Oh, they're wonderful.
Oh, they're so
Wonderful.
great.
So you're saying
Come
the,
on.
the key is to lie to get out.
Crystal, thanks so much for sharing your story on the Homeowners Association. Karen is up next at 833-390-KRBE. We'll continue to take your stories on the good and the bad. I understand, Karen, you are actually on an HOA board. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
How long have you been doing that?
Well, I'm no longer on the board, but I was on the board for 9 years. It started off for the first year. So in total, I was involved for a total of 10 years.
How'd you get suckered into that?
Yeah,
Was somebody like, just do it one time, Karen? It'll be only 1 year. I promise your term will be short. And you're like 10 years later.
Damn.
No, I gave all of my 30s to being on the board of my HOA.
Wow.
Started off because it was a new community, a new build, and we chose our lot because we had a green area next to us that was just supposed to be like a green area with trees and someone in the neighborhood started petitioning to have a park built next to, like, in that green area.
Oh.
And that's not why I purchased that home at that, in that lot. So I did my own petition against the playground being built there. And then after that, and of course, I ended up getting more people against having a playground built because we're at the very back of the neighborhood. So that can draw a lot of negative activity when there's no cars, driving back and forth.
Like people come in
Anyway.
and hang out and do stuff. Yeah.
Right. And so since I was involved with that, then when the board transitioned over to the residents from the builder, then I was asked if I wanted to run for the board. And so I went ahead and I did it. And then I did three terms. So
Now, did you see corruption, like behind the scenes? Did you see things that you're like, this isn't right. They're doing this
Or they're
because they've got their
nitpicking?
own special interests.
No, we didn't have anything like that. And I know, yes, there are bad board members and bad boards, but we never experienced anything like that.
Oh, good.
Everybody genuinely was concerned for our community and trying to do the best for our community. Unfortunately, I think it was around 2011 or so. I can't remember exactly. Texas laws changed, and the boards lost a lot of their their power.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so they can't do as much as they used to be able to do. And I heard Ryan say earlier, there's like a house with windows boarded up and everything. You don't know what the board is trying to get accomplished and who they're trying to fight. Exactly. Thank you. We had one home, for instance, that had squatters living in it, and it took us 5 years to get them out.
Wow.
Good grief.
And it was so frustrating because they were dealing drugs out of this home. There was a drive-by that happened there.
Oh, no.
It was really bad. And a lot of homeowners, they see this type of stuff and they think, why are they harassing me, or why are they sending me letters? And, this house, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what that board is dealing with. And, they may be tied up in court. We had another one that was going through bankruptcy, and we couldn't do anything until they got stuff resolved with their bankruptcy. And, the board's hands were completely tied. But, yeah, I think most homeowner associations really do look out for the best interest of trying to maintain property values. And
I think it's just the grass thing. We hear the story where people say they see someone measure their grass, and it's
Or
like
they did that at my house.
Right.
like half an inch. But if it gets way too big, and that you're right, it does.
No, they did it
Makes
like
your neighborhood look bad, and then you don't make as much money if you want to ever sell it. Or
came with a tape measure, and my grass had to be 6 inches away from the side of my house, and literally pulled out the tape measure. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And what she's mentioning, I did get annoyed because there's been a house that really did have the windows boarded. It still does. And the guy's like, on the weekends, he tries to renovate this old junky house, and it looks like hell. And it's an eyesore. And they seem to turn a blind eye to that.
But he's
and
trying
I'm
to he's
Unless
trying to make
they've
it
already
better.
for
discussed
5
it.
years.
Because what you don't know is what she just said. What Karen just said is you don't know if the board is on board with whatever that
Or
house
permits
is doing.
and stuff. I don't.
Because when I first moved
Shouldn't
into
take 5 years, but
It
It's
shouldn't
been
take
5
that
years.
long.
I'm not exaggerating.
However,
5 years.
bankruptcy takes a long time, and if it's in bankruptcy, that gets tied up for a long time. When I first moved into my neighborhood before I had kids, I got pregnant with my first baby while we were in this neighborhood, and there was a house 2 doors down that when you would walk by the house, because it was just it looked like it was abandoned, and pine needles, when they pile up on a sidewalk, they're very slippery. And you would walk there, and it's just covered in pine needles. And I remember one day I finally saw a car in the driveway, and at this point, I think I remember I was pushing a stroller, so it had to have been my first child. And I just said, "Hey, I'm just wondering, do you live in this house, or what's the story with this house?" He's like, "I'm really sorry. My dad is in there, and he's a hoarder, and we've been trying to get him out.
Wow.
And my mom passed away, and he was a brilliant man at one point in his life. And just, you could just tell the guy was really hurting because you hate to see your dad decline like that.
Yeah.
And that was one of those things. Like, they were coming after everybody else for some weird pick on a fence that wasn't right, but that house got to
Like,
just
go
sit
pick
there
on
like
that one.
that.
Yeah.
And it was that to what Karen was saying. He'd gotten repeated letters and all this stuff, and it just was this back and forth battle. It could go on forever.
Then you wonder how they make certain decisions. Like in my neighborhood, for some reason, the retention pond, when when it rains, it fills up this gully. For some reason, they decided to put 28 park benches, which had to be, if I had to take a guess, at least $1,000 a piece.
Probably.
And why would they put all these things around there instead of like putting up street cameras? Like
And what did
those
they pick?
kind of
That's why you
things
got to get on the
make
board
me
and be on the
wonder.
HOA, Ryan.
Yep.
Somebody said, Eric, on text about you moving into a neighborhood now that has an HOA. You've got to read your governing documents. If people would read their governing
read
documents before they bought the house to see what they can and cannot do, there would not be so many problems. Eric, really read the documents and see what you can and cannot
I'll
do.
just put in
You won't even be able to
ChatGPT
put
and
up a
say,
shed
hey.
in your backyard without getting approval.
Yeah, all you do is copy it, paste it in ChatGPT, say, hey, tell me the pros
Synopsis
cons
of
here,
this.
synopsis, what I need to look out for, and it'll tell me in 2 seconds.
It's really
because
accurate.
there is
Like,
a tree I have when
In
they
the backyard
built, when
of
they
this
built in the
house?
front.
Okay.
Mhm.
So instead of a driveway straight, this has instead of straight it curves around because there's a tree.
You can't
in,
cut
in
it
the
down?
driveway. It looks old, like it looks like it's not like the tree next to it is beautiful and big. I love that
Mhm.
one. This one looks ugly,
Mhm.
but it's really wide or
Yeah, the
thick,
trunk.
whatever trunk is.
and it can't be cut down?
I don't. When they built it, they built around it the cement the driveway.
So there must have been some rule back then.
I think they did want to fight it sometimes,
Maybe.
so I'm going to try and fight it. I'm going to go get one of those. What are they called?
Chainsaw?
The professional that can tell you if a tree's dead or not. or
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Like
If you know who does that,
herb or something or no?
you can text us at
Herpetologist?
37530. I don't know what the word is.
I'm
for the
hoping
person that knows
they'll-
about the tree health.
My wife used the guy once like
Arborist.
that. Something I don't know. And then what you have to do is you have to replace it and put a tree somewhere else on the property.
Okay.
Well, you know what's
But if it's
interesting.
big, they said if I want to get rid of this, it might cost me $10,000.
Yes,
Well,
'cause
some of those
they're not
trees-
cheap to cut down and have to ground out the roots. If you don't grind out the roots and it looks
Yeah.
like they did, the roots will make their way back up and totally jack up the foundation.
and some of
It's
those
really
trees
crazy.
are like, I know for a fact I've got a tree in my yard that's over 150 years old. You don't want to cut that down.
Yeah, I mean this one I do
Mm-hmm.
This
because it's
person.
in my way of my driveway.
It's just an eyesore.
Oh
no,
my
just
God.
I like to. You want to pull in your driveway straight. You don't want to like go back and then you have to turn.
Yeah, but they're going to say,
An
you know,
angle.
you bought this house and it looked like this.
Yeah, but
That's a lot of work.
I mean,
and there
I'm-
must be
I'm-
some reason why
My wife
that
has a
tree was-
construction company, so we can fix it in 2 days. I just want to make sure I don't.
Can
get
it be
sued or
uprooted?
something.
Can it be
Oh.
uprooted and moved?
No,
here,
it
hold
looks
on,
like
wait,
it's
where's my
old.
crystal ball, Ryan? I see in the future, 6 months from now, Eric is going to be complaining on the air that
Fight
the
it.
HOA is coming after him for cutting down a tree that he didn't realize was a
No, I-
500-year-old tree in the neighborhood and so beloved.
There's some little bird in
He
there
didn't
that
read his history.
a Dumbledore for what was that bird that you were talking about?
Oh,
Peter
the,
Jackson.
the oar or the door. Or
It's on the
whatever
verge
it
of
was.
extinction.
No, it is extinct. From
Oh,
1500, it's been
okay.
extinct, and
It
he's
lives-
trying to bring it back.
Lives in that tree and I didn't know it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly what you did.
No, I'll
There's
ask.
a bald eagle nest up in
There's
there.
one left, and Eric killed it because he had to have proper driveway access.
I'm too
I'm
lazy
just
to turn
gonna
my
sit
wheel.
back, fold my arms, tap my foot, and wait, and just see what stories are coming out of Eric having an HOA now,
Oh,
and
God.
all the things that he's going to be doing.
Let the battle begin.
Yeah.
Carrick will come
Totally.
out.